Hey guys.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk a little bit for a minute about the M2m. We've got a little setup going here to demonstrate it being put through its paces. The M2m is a UREC module that takes a TRS Type A MIDI signal and turns it into 11 Type A TRS MIDI signals. So to demonstrate that, we obviously need some target devices. So we dug around and we put together this sort of live techno rig with a few things. So like just the things that I could find, but I wanted to demonstrate some different kinds of things that that the M2m enables. So let's take a look at what we've got. Alright, so when you're trying to get a bunch of MIDI stuff to talk to each other, the first thing that you're obviously going to need is a master clock source. And in this instance, we're using the Beatstep to do that. So it's got a MIDI output on it, and that MIDI output is going to the MIDI input on this model samples. So I hit play here, and everything wakes up and starts going in lockstep. Pretty simple. And if you're familiar with the Beatstep, you know that it also has gate and CV outputs. So I'm making use of those in the sequencer here to drive the gate of the Lifeforms and the pitch of the first oscillator of the Lifeforms. So my first voice is here, and this master clock is going into here by a MIDI, and the MIDI output of this device, which is controlling basically everything else, is heading off to the back MIDI input of the M2m. Now everything else plugs into this M2m to get its MIDI signal. That includes the Lifeforms, the Yamaha RX7, and the Lexicon MPX100 reverb unit. So I've got this set as a delay unit, and its delay time is being based off of the MIDI clock that's coming in. The RX7 is a drum machine, and it's being driven by MIDI signals coming from the sequencer on the model samples. So my channels T2 through T6 here are set up with different patterns that are triggering drums on the RX7. And the second voice of the Lifeforms is being controlled off of T1 here on the model samples with a pattern. But I don't have any way in this setup to gate that, so I'm manually using a mixer control here to gate that signal in and out of the master bus. Alright, so that's the MIDI part, and now let's quickly talk about the audio part. So like I said, the Beatstep is driving the pitch of voice 1, T1 is driving the pitch of voice 2, and the RX7 has its own audio output. And so I've got on my mixer, on the Lifeforms, I have voice 1 on channel 1, voice 2 on channel 2. I have the Lexicon Reverb coming in on channel 3, and I have the RX7's audio, the left channel of it anyway, into channel 4, and the right channel of the RX7 is going to the SC return side channel on this crappy Behringer compressor. I'm just using the Behringer compressor for sidechain compression. So when a drum sound happens here on the RX7, this sees that and it turns down the signal for whatever I'm passing through, and what I'm passing through is voice 1. So basically I can have my main synth line or main 303 type of line on channel 1, but it's passing through the compressor before it gets to the mixer. So as that's playing through the compressor, every time a drum hits, the compressor is automatically turning it down to get that pumping sound. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the audio. Once it has been mixed down, it's going into a buffered splitter situation here, buffered multiple, and one of it's going down to my audio output, which we can hear in the room, and one of it is going up to our visualization section here, and that's just so that we can use it as an audio signal to modulate our video. So let's take a closer look at what's going on up in the visualization section. Alright, so we want to modulate the video output with some audio into the glitch CRT. But this is composite video going on in this module, and we don't want that to feed back into the audio that we're modulating. So in this instance, we're going to use the A2H and H2A to buffer the signal of the audio to keep it separate. So it's coming up here, going into the A2H, being converted into a digital signal, coming along the HDMI cable loop into the H2A, and back out the audio output of the H2A in here. And essentially that's just to keep the video signals that we're mixing on these three from feeding back out and getting into our audio circuitry and causing interference there. Nice little hack if you didn't know that you could do that. Oftentimes when you're using a glitch CRT, you are using it with an H2A, A2H loop to create a feedback effect. And you can see that feedback effect working up on the screen here. This is video feedback caused by the fact that we're putting from the glitch CRT into the video input of the A2H, and then that gets converted into an HDMI signal, goes through this loop into the H2A, which converts the HDMI signal back into an analog signal, and then goes back into the mix bus on the glitch CRT. So there's a delay in how long it takes the processors to do that conversion, the upscaling and downscaling. So by the time the signal gets back here, this has moved on. So we've created a feedback loop that results in this ghosting and sort of drifting colors and such. The other video that we have coming in here is coming from a VCR. I can hit play on there. And we just wanted that so that the Tymkrs logo will pop up on screen and will sort of get affected by the audio signal coming in. Like so. Looks like Eddie had things turned down a little bit. We can go a little more extreme. Gives you a pretty good idea of that. And the reason we wanted to have a video section going on here is so that this last A2H is just taking the glitched video, bringing it up to the screen so we can see it, and then passing the signal along out here off to a projector, and we're going to use that projector to project the image onto the entire scene from a distance. Yeah. Alright, now let's take a look and see what we've got going on here. Okay, up here we've got some brand new modules that have come out since the m2m came out. This is Tokyo Night-lite. And essentially it's a spectrum analyzer that's sort of reconfigured into the form of like a music visualizer. So let me just, the center one here is specifically Tokyo
Night-lite.
Night-lite? Mm-hmm. Tokyo Night-lite. Addie made this module, so I don't necessarily know the names of it. So what I'm going to do is run some audio out of oscillator 2 up in there. I just have a simple little sequence here. Turn this one down and bring this one up so we can hear it easy. And you can see that the lights sort of react to the different frequencies. Depending on the frequency and the loudness, different colors are going to show up all over this panel here. So essentially I've tapped into the signals right before they go into the mixer, so I can see visually what's happening on all of my audio sequences without actually having to turn them up on the mixer. I can see if there's activity going on. This one over here is the drums. We put on a kick drum. Add some more drums to it. You get the basic idea there. And of course, over on this one, we have our main synth lead oscillator 1 to bring up the volume on that. And I had turned it down on the module here. There's a gain on the front end here, so you can really dial in to get exactly as much color as you find useful. Now that we finally have oscillator 1 in our ears, we can hear the compression kick in as I turn the kick drum on. Isn't that nice? And it's that simple. So these are pretty cool. Alright, I think that's a pretty good breakdown of this system. Now let's get the lights off, get the projector turned on, and we'll just do some live music.
Yeah, let's play. you.